not recording yet.
Haven't recorded yet. Okay. Hey, team.
Hey, Talon.
Hey.
Hello, Talon.
For another edition of Week by Week.
Yeah.
And this week we're going to be talking about TikTok possibly being banned.
Cool.
And
not cool, but cool.
Yeah. You know, we
Yeah.
live in weird times. But also, like, what are your other options if that's a big player for you for marketing, or it was something you were just starting to get into and you want to move your fan base from there? We're just wanting to check out creative video outlets and platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah. So any questions before we get started?
Can we, I'm not sure if it's part of your presentation or not, but why is it getting banned?
So there's a couple factors that are playing into this possible ban. One reason that it seems like they want to get rid of it or ban it is just the possibility of information being stolen. So this also goes into some like political leanings that or reasonings for this possible ban. So it's kind of a mix, but it seems like the news on it changes every day. And there's a few big players who are actually maybe going to scoop in and change things or buy it up in the US, but it's also, you know, we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, I think if I read the information I got the other day, I think they're giving them like 45 days to figure it out for like a US buyer or someone that could basically bring it here technically.
Yeah.
Going forward versus because I believe China there's a China company currently, so I guess that's the worry is that what are we sharing with them? I don't know. So, but
Yeah.
So when you say there's some potential buyers, wouldn't all the tech companies want this? I mean,
you would think so.
That's a good question.
It's so popular and it's
right.
such a good platform for organic growth for companies and for just like startup influencers that it's a really good platform to be on. So I do think there's like a really big potential for it not to be banned. But that being said, we live in a really interesting time, so anything is possible, and just want to give people let people know their options. So that's what today's discussion is about.
Cool.
So
Can't wait.
No, well, without a further ado, can you just tell like a cloud just went over me?
Right. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
How'd you make the lighting work on there like that?
yeah.
Yes. Weather, technical difficulties.
Nice.
But anyways.
Effect of the conversation, you know, just like it's getting banned.
But without further ado, let's dive into today's Week by Week.
Let's do it week by week.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this Week by Week, we're going to talk about TikTok, Instagram Reels, and the Triller video app. So the big question everyone has been asking is what in the world is happening with TikTok? So already India has banned it, and other countries like South Korea, Japan, and the US may follow suit. So while we're not sure what's going to happen right now, here are a few ways to ride out the potential demise of Gen Z's favorite app. So any questions before we get started?
Well, we talk about potential demise is when you should have had the cloud come over.
Yes.
Right. That would have been really probably more the right timing for your cloud. But
I'll call Mother Nature and
yeah. No, but going back to before we started, when you were talking about, why wouldn't any of the other tech companies want to jump on here? And I think that's a really good question when you think about, Gen Z seems to like jump ship every time something gets popular. I think back to like when Instagram got off the ground, like I feel like all the young kids were on Instagram, and then as it got kind of more mainstream, then they jumped to Snapchat. You still use Snap a lot, obviously, from that kind of in between stuff, but then now TikTok seems like the next big thing. And yeah, I'm surprised when you think about that. Such a huge and developing demographic from a marketing standpoint that I'm surprised. Yeah, there wouldn't be more lining up to buy that thing. But anyways,
Yeah.
2 cents there.
Well, it's
So
just
interesting.
such a, I don't know, such a universe in itself right
Right.
now, and such big conversations are happening there, and just trends and all that. So I just, I can't imagine it just disappearing altogether.
Right.
But anything could happen. So here are a few other options.
Yeah.
Kind of like when one of the first things we're suggesting, so to be prepared for all this, is to update your TikTok CTA. Usually on a platform, a social platform, we would recommend making your call to action to your website. But right now, if on your TikTok, we would suggest moving it to a different one of your social platforms. This way you give your following a different place to follow you.
Sure.
Just in case you wake up and TikTok is gone, you haven't
Yeah.
just lost a really good, solid group of followers. We're suggesting Instagram, and this is mostly because it is a very visual app, and they have just introduced Reels. Because if we know anything about Instagram, it loves kind of copy and pasting other app
Yeah.
ideas and just kind
Right.
of adding it to their app, kind of like with Snapchat.
Right.
So this week, or it was, yes, last week they introduced Reels. And so we're going to dive into that as far as the next thing we talk about. So yeah, it's time to reel it in. So Reels they're basically TikToks. So you can do an up to 15-second video, and you can use different video clips. You can use music, and you can use effects. And it's very, very similar to TikTok. From what I've seen, the perks of it that I like is that you have a little more, like, depending on the song, you can use different parts of songs. Sometimes on TikTok, like, there's a section of a song I'd love to use, but they don't have that available. And it kind of depends on ownership and everything, but at least what I've seen on Reels is I could use a little bit more like a lot of times on TikTok, you only get 15 seconds, and I've seen a little bit more like 30 seconds on more popular songs. That is definitely not the case for everything, but
This is maybe a dumb question, but
no.
what kind of variety of songs do you have between TikTok and Instagram? Is it like pretty much anything if you look for it, or?
I haven't explored the music enough to answer that
Sure.
correctly, but I would assume that if they're trying to capture that Gen Z, they're really going to be trying to capture like the popular music of like
Right.
the dance music. But it's hard to know without really doing a deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
So did you say TikTok has a 15-second max as well? Is that what you said?
So in TikTok, you can either do 15 or you can do longer. So really, you can do up to a minute. If you're trying to go viral, though, the shorter the better, I've found. So like staying under 15 is usually a smarter idea. But if you have a following, you can usually tell a longer story and get people to watch it. Or if you're just a really good storyteller, it's nice to have those 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if like in TikTok, you can, if you have 10,000 followers, I believe you can do live videos. And I don't think Reels has anything like that. I think that'd just be like your story or just like an Instagram live.
Right.
But I think in Instagram, you can just do live no matter how big your following is, which is kind of nice. What else? Oh, the big thing about Reels that annoys me as far as like video editing is, so in TikTok, you add your videos and then you can go back and kind of switch up how long each one is or which part of the footage you put in you want to use. And in Reels, you can only edit the last video you added. So if you end up not liking how the first clip of your footage lines up with the music, you've got to delete everything.
Oh.
So, which I don't know, I have a feeling that part of it will get changed quickly because I could see a lot of complaints about that, but
Right.
just makes the video editing process a lot more
Have you
complicated.
played around with, like, there's obviously IGTV, which is your long form video format for Instagram, and obviously there's, your stories has, I don't know, isn't stories 15-second. You can write a
Mm-hmm.
full video, but it cuts up into 15-second chunks, and I believe the regular feed is a minute or less. So there's all these different, time allotments. Do you know, like, can you like hook this up to your IGTV, like swipe up from there and then go to the full long version of that maybe? Or have you even gotten
I
that far?
haven't messed with that yet. That's something I can definitely look into and get back
Yeah.
to you on. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was a feature that they
Yeah.
put in there, especially for like creators and influencers.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you think about where Instagram's been and how they've evolved, and now you're adding this, and then how does that interact with their other tools,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because it does feel like it's very similar to stories in a lot of ways. If you
Right.
would create the video beforehand, or like I would sometimes create my TikTok and then I would just share it onto Instagram stories, and it wasn't too big a deal, but it is nice to have a little bit of a different selection of music. Because I know on Instagram Reels, I could add a song that I couldn't add on TikTok, and that was really nice.
Sure.
But
That's
kind of
cool.
just depends on your music style, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to both, but I would overall recommend looking into this, especially if you're already on Instagram. It's just like, why not? And it's just a fun, easy way to mess around with stuff and tell your brand story.
I think the other way to look at it too is maybe you're not on TikTok, but you maybe wanted to be, or you weren't sure how, and not that you still can't, but if you're already used to Instagram and you're kind of thinking about whatever, like maybe you start there because you're already used to the platform. You have a lot of other pieces of content tied to you, because this is all also tied right into your specific profile, right?
Yeah.
It's not you have a separate, so it's just another layer of tools, if you will. So it's just kind of interesting too when you think about, TikTok versus Instagram, where you've probably already been with Instagram. It's almost like a little bit more advantageous potentially. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, and the nice thing about Reels is that with TikTok, your target market was a lot younger. It was Gen Z, and then especially after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, I should say, you added a lot more millennials and a few older generations to it, but it's still skewed pretty young. Right. So Instagram has the potential to reach those audiences that maybe you want to reach, that with the kind of content you would have made on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a really nice option for brands.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, if with or without the TikTok ban, I would definitely recommend testing out Reels and using it, because it's just fun and a good way to entertain your audience.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, on to the next point. This was really interesting to me, is trying out Triller. I had not heard about Triller before this, but it's actually been out for 5 years.
Only 5 years? I thought since like 1983.
Oh, you're missing an H.
Oh, okay.
But this is an LA-based app that is very similar to TikTok, where it's based around music and making videos. And it seems like it's having a moment with the possibility of TikTok being banned. I've seen a lot of news articles about it, and I've been messing around with it a little bit. It's similar to TikTok. It's in a lot of ways, but it's also different. I'm still getting an opinion on it, I guess. But it's fun. Like, the editing's pretty easy. There's a lot of good song selections. But at least from my initial view, it seemed a lot more like rap and pop based. But I haven't dove in too much yet.
Are a lot of the features similar to TikTok, which then makes me go, was TikTok ripping them off first, or?
I feel like it was more of a transformation, because I believe TikTok was musically before.
Yeah, that's right.
Was a lot more like people singing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of transformed into this like dancing and then a video creation hub.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But yeah, messing around with it, it's a good alternative. It definitely, I think, what's cool about it right now, since it's so, like, I shouldn't say it's new, but it's getting attention right now, and it seems like a lot of people are testing it out. You could possibly build a really strong audience there easier because there's less competition. I'm still trying to figure out how that algorithm works, because, like, at least when I first downloaded TikTok, it seemed like a lot more people saw my videos faster. And
Yeah.
then I put out, 2 similar style videos, and I've had like 4 views. So
Wow.
I'm just, it might be, a different audience is on there, or the algorithm's just different and looks for different things, but it'll be interesting to see how those differ and who that prioritizes. But yeah, I would also suggest checking that one out just to have it in your back pocket. It's a good alternative, and it doesn't hurt to check out a new platform if you're already making stuff similar and just practice your skills. So yeah. And then, here's a quote from USA Today that happened a couple of days ago, but news of the switch and increasing calls to ban TikTok sent Triller downloads soaring. Overnight, it became one of the most downloaded app across platforms.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, demerit.
Demerit.
Yep, there goes again.
Wow, someone really wants to get a hold of you. It's Triller calling.
Maybe.
I think my kids are wanting to hear more about Triller.
Oh, that's exciting.
They're
They
they're really banning TikTok?
Dad, I heard you. I saw your thing.
Let me FaceTime you real quick and ask you about it.
But just based off this, it just seems like, it doesn't hurt to check this one out as well. Get on there, just have a profile. And if it turns into something, that's great. If not, never hurts to try new things.
So here's something like, and we can all maybe speak to this, but like, so, with week by week, we've been doing this the last couple of weeks, kind of ever since COVID hit and being at home and trying to find maybe different places to market or different ways to maybe think about your marketing during this time, being at home. Obviously right now with masks and stuff, we're allowed to do more things than we were, able to do back in March and April. But, what are your thoughts about just using this, regardless if we had COVID happening or not? Like, what do you think are the quick takeaways of why any of these would be relevant to anyone's brand at this point?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think that's just the future of things is being on your phone. And so learning how to tell your brand story on those types of platforms are only going to do you good. As more and more print kind of goes out the window, it will still exist, but I just don't think it's going to be as prominent, and your audiences are just, as they get, as your audiences get older, the new
right, they're already there.
Yeah, that's just like what they're used to. So
getting it on the ground floor. Well, and I of course I asked the question, but I'm going to give my 2 cents too. Is I think definitely it's one of those entertainment things. Like I find myself, even though it's a lot of times I look at it, and I know early on when I first saw TikTok and people started using it more and saw kids use it, you're like, oh, this is some stupid thing. But then I was just so like engaged by it too, like watching the next thing and the next thing. And then you started to see more, not necessarily branded content, but you're seeing more and more of ways people are using it to do that. And now, they have a full ads platform, which as of last, I think February, you could ask to be kind of a part of a group to maybe try out ads. And then I didn't hear nothing for a while. And now anyone and everyone, and that might be tied also to this whole ban or potential ban thing, is they seem to like open it up to everyone. So now you can actually do ads right in TikTok for brands and et cetera. So, by the way, when I actually logged into our account, our ads account this morning, actually in preparation for this call today. And it was funny. It's set up very much like Facebook and other social ad platforms as far as their dashboards and how you create ads and brand awareness versus watching a certain video, or you want people to, buy something on your website. They've got all these things in place to kind of put the right kinds of ways to interact brand-wise with their audiences in those ad platforms. So it's just really interesting to me. And again, I don't know, is that in response just to what's going on, that they feel like they got to push this out quicker and show revenue and help sell the thing quicker, so it doesn't totally get banned by opening it up to everyone? I'm kind of curious why that seemed to happen so quickly after it was kind of locked down for the first initial thoughts about adding ads to this platform. But I don't know.
Yeah, it did seem like when we first looked at ads on TikTok, it was very much like you've got to have a huge budget to do that.
Right.
So it's interesting to hear that they're making it a little bit more open for maybe your smaller brands or your littler companies. But
It also conjures up the idea of, well, number one, I don't know, maybe it already exists, maybe you know this or don't, but does Reels allow ads? Probably not at this point. They're probably still figuring out how they're actually putting that out, because because it's a Facebook company, you go on Facebook, you place your ads for Facebook and or Instagram through the Facebook Ads Manager. I would assume that would also get applied to Reels, if not now, if probably down the line at some point, to also compete. I'm not looking into that too. That's kind of interesting. What are they doing ads, or if they're not, when?
I
Reels?
bet there'll be sponsored reels like
Probably.
on your
Yeah.
page. So I'm sure that'll happen.
I
Right.
think it'd be interesting to see where the influencers are going too. Are they migrating from TikTok to one of these or the other, or are they going somewhere else?
I've seen a lot of TikTokers head to YouTube and kind of start doing YouTube channels.
Okay.
And then a lot of like the travel influencers are heading to Instagram. I think it kind of depends on what kind of brand you're trying to sell. I think like the TikTok dancers, the ones, it seems like they have turned into such a like lifestyle brand. Like people want to live like them, that it makes sense to be on YouTube to kind of do, because I think that biggest family, Charlie and then might get like a reality TV show now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So some of them go that direction, but I think like the lifestyle ones that are a little more aesthetic versus like I want to get to know the person are kind of shooting back to Instagram and trying to get their followers over there.
Makes sense. It's kind of weird too, though. Like you think about the TikTok platform, and like Charlie D'Amelio, her whole thing was she just started doing dances like every other young teenage young woman using TikTok, and she just blew up for whatever reason. People liked the way she danced, whatever it was, and she kind of blew up overnight. I know Gary Vee he interviewed her and her family about it, and she was like a huge surprise to her too. Like how just overnight she became famous. But you think about you kind of create this. Something for yourself in this specific space, and what she does on there is mostly dancing and those kinds of things, and now to go to YouTube, like how do you do that different that keeps engagement up? You know what I mean? It's obviously a different platform. It's still video, but it's a different thing where it's dancing on YouTube now. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I wonder how that works for her. That's a whole nother probably thing for outside of this specific discussion, but that's interesting to think about.
Yeah, from what I have seen, it looks like they're doing a lot more like at-home videos of like their life because they're in quarantine.
Yeah, or vlogs, kind of vlog stuff.
Yep. Or like a lot of times the TikTokers will like get together and pull pranks or stuff like that. But that's one way they're doing it.
Right.
But that's a very specific example.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jeff, where do you store all of your dance videos?
Well, I have this box that I lock in my closet, and it's got their old VHS tapes.
Okay.
And, but I don't have VCR anymore, so Well, I do. It's a secret one. You can't find it. That's how I,
Right.
Did you guys see the Blockbuster, the last Blockbuster?
No.
Didn't close, did it?
No, they turned it into an Airbnb
Really?
where you can watch, you can watch VHSs.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
One in Oregon?
Yes, in Oregon.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
A good, because it is such a like nostalgic thing, and kind of build an experience out of it.
So the idea that you go there for a weekend and you can go peruse whatever VHS you want, and
That's what it looked like from the image, is like just stacks of videos, and then, a bed and like a TV, and you can kind of just hang out.
If I ever own an Airbnb, I'm definitely doing VHS.
yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, but that's what I've got on all of this. If you have any other questions, let me know.
Sure. So you probably, I don't know if you know her yet or not. Do you have any hints on what's happening next week for week by week, or that's a secret?
That is, well, week by week, it's happens with what's happening week by week.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see what happens with TikTok too, because I think
Yeah.
probably some decisions will be made this next week, and see what other stuff is relevant.
Maybe it'll be part 2, TikTok 2.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be gone. Maybe it'll be exploding even more. We just don't know. But
Cool.
good question, though.
Nice job. It was very informative.
Well, thank you. Thank you for designing a beautiful presentation.
I would say that we used to do this in the podcast, but if anybody has any suggestions that's watching this, they should email us or TikTok us or
Oh, yeah. Shout out to our TikTok. You can follow us on TikTok at Creative Arcade, or on Instagram at Creative Arcade.
Very nice.
I think it's creative_arcade on
Instagram. Thank you.
Just because there was a similar company somewhere in the world, I think, that had the other handle.
Oh, okay.
But
so
I'm sure if you did a general search for Creative Arcade, you'd find us pop up in the search. So
yes.
Look for the little rocket ship.
You will not find any dancing videos. Sorry about that.
Not yet.
I don't know. I don't think it's on brand for us.
I'm inspired. I might do one.
Oh gosh. Okay.
For 7th roll.
We could do an arcade dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
thanks for listening, everybody, and learning along with us.
Yeah. Thanks again, Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, I'll talk to you guys later.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See you later.